talk about 2 learning targets today. One is I can visualize while I read. What does that mean?
Ooh.
I don't know your names, so I'm going to have to be like purple Minnesota Vikings sweatshirt man.
It's like when you picture it in your head.
Okay, so do you guys make pictures in your heads? Okay, so we're going to do this. If you make pictures in your head, then I want you to do this. If you make movies in your head, I want you to do this. So if when you visualize, if it's just pictures, but if it's movies, so show me. Pictures or movies? Pictures or movies? Okay, we have both, and that's great. Okay, so thumbs up if your pictures or movies are in color. Okay. Anybody in black and white?
Really? Sometimes.
Oh, that's kind of cool. I usually don't see that in 21st century kids, usually like my age, because some of my pictures when I was a baby are black and white. That's how old I am. So it's kind of amazing. Yes, I am old. I'm a grandmother. Do I look like your grandma?
No.
I'm way cooler than most grandmas, just so you know. Okay, the other thing is our learning target is I can use a Venn diagram to compare and contrast details from a text to summarize ideas. Okay, so we're not just building a Venn diagram so that we can fill in circles. We're building a Venn diagram so we can talk about our ideas and summarize our ideas. So we're going to be practicing that. Does that make sense? Okay. So I'm going to scooch closer. There's one thing I want you to think about. I'm going to reread the story to you that you had yesterday. But I want you to be visualizing it. Every once in a while, I'm going to ask you to close your eyes and visualize and be able to come up with one word, just one, to describe what you're visualizing, and then you're going to have to share it with someone fast, okay? So visualize, summarize into one word, and then you're going to turn and talk fast while I read. And in the back of your head, I'm going to ask you at the very end to make a decision. We're learning about migration. Who can tell me what migration is? Lovely turquoise top.
When you go to a different place for different reasons, like for food or for weather.
Okay. So when I go from one place or another because I have to, I need something. I'm cold, or I need food, or I need a vacation. And then I'm going to migrate, right? Okay. So you're going to make a decision. Whose migration is harder? A gray whale or a locust? Don't answer, because you're going to be making that decision while we read. Okay. So, are we ready to be good listeners?
Yep.
Okay. So, The Journey. Stories of Migration by Cynthia Rylant. I can't read it that way. I'm going to have to scooch around a little bit, guys. So can I, bump you? Sorry. I got to read sideways. Okay. Most creatures live out their lives in the places where they were born. The tiny mouse runs in the field where his mother ran. The gray squirrel lives in the same tall trees all her life. The cow stays on the farm, but there are some creatures who do not stay where they are born, who cannot stay. These are the creatures who migrate. Their lives will be spent moving from one place to another. Some will migrate to survive. Some will migrate to create a new life. All will be remarkable. Here are the stories of 2 of these remarkable travelers, so different from each other, but so alike in one profound way. Each must move. Okay, I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to think of a time where you had to move and visualize that. Now summarize it in one word. Turn to the person next to you and say that one word. Okay. Thumbs up if that was easy. Thumbs down like that was hard.
In the middle.
Okay.
That's it. Look at my hair.
Visualizing isn't hard. It's putting that into a word or a few words that's challenging. Creating a Venn diagram isn't hard, but using those words to summarize the big idea of something, that's where the challenge lies. That's our job for the day. The locust. There are a few migrations as dramatic and frightening as when the desert locusts are moving across Africa. These insects are actually young grasshoppers, and grasshoppers usually do not travel. But sometimes too many grasshopper eggs are laid in one small area, and when the grasshoppers are born, there isn't enough food. The grasshoppers now have only one choice for survival: to migrate in search of vegetation. And so these grasshoppers will begin changing. Their bodies will turn from light green to dark yellow or red. Their antennae will grow short rather than long. And when they rise up to fly together by the billions, they will be grasshoppers no more. They will be locusts. Kind of scary, isn't it? A cloud of desert locusts in the sky is an unbelievable sight. There are so many locusts that they block out the sun. It seems like night, and in the sudden darkness, there is a terrible, thunderous noise. It is the noise of a billion wings. What happens next is even more incredible. When the locusts fly to the ground, they will eat every plant. Hey, guys with me. They will eat every plant, every leaf and bush and piece of vegetation as far as the eye can see, and within minutes they will fly off again, leaving behind them a totally devastated landscape. Now I want you to close your eyes, and I want you to pretend that locusts came to Jonathan Elementary. Close your eyes. And it's not winter time, it's springtime, when all the grass is green and all the trees are out and blooming. Now I want you to close your eyes, close them tight, and I'm going to go, boom. Locusts are gone, and there isn't a green blade of grass, there isn't a leaf on a tree, and there isn't any locust left, except for one tiny crawling one right by the slide. That's it. It was fast, and it was devastating. What's devastating mean?
Scary.
Scary. What else? Yes.
Bad.
What else?
Sudden.
Sudden. Yes. Show me devastation with your body. Show me what it looks like. Okay. I want to show you with my body, and then I want you to tell me what it means.
Fake. Sad.
Yes.
Miserable.
Miserable. Horrible. Awful. There's nothing left. There's nothing left for the people to eat because the locusts ate them all. And though locusts do not willfully hurt people, they only want to eat gardens, trees, bushes, and grass. People may die because of locusts. Because their gardens are empty of food, people might die of starvation. Desert locusts can also cause accidents. Locusts fly very high, as much as 2 miles up in the sky, and this can make it difficult for flying planes that have to move through the locust cloud. The swarms can also interfere with trains, and millions of crushed locusts on a highway will make cars slip and slide. Ew. Locust guts splattered all over the highway in crunchy, gooey messes.
Awesome.
There are many, many stories in history about the terrible devastation of locust plagues. What's a plague? Do you know what a plague is? Yes.
It's like something that happens that is really bad and it devastates thousands and thousands of people.
Very, very well said. It could be an illness, like a really bad flu that has so many people sick that many people die. That's a plague. But when locusts come in giant swarms and eat all the food, that's also been called a plague. So they're comparing and contrasting an illness to a locust swarm. And they're really different, aren't they? a big epidemic of a flu is very different from locusts coming and eating all the food. But how are they the same?
Yes, they're both devastating.
They're both devastating. I love that you're using the word devastating.
They both can kill.
They both can kill in their own special way, right? In their own horrible and devastating way. As the locusts migrate in search of food, they ride the winds from one area of the rainfall to the next. There is always more food where it rains. They travel on sunny mornings and stop in late afternoons to roost for the night. When they reach for the rainy area, they mate and die. Okay.
Yes.
Then their eggs will hatch and a new swarm of locusts begins moving. This will happen again and again until one day a swarm will return to the same place where the very first locust began. And if the eggs laid are not too many, and if there's plenty of food when the new eggs hatch, there will be no locust swarms for a while. Only pale green grasshoppers moving quietly about. But someday too many eggs may be laid, and the newly hatched grasshopper will be much too hungry. These grasshoppers will begin to look a little different and act a little different. They will rise up together by the billions as desert locusts, and they will fly. Give me the music. Dum, dum, dum. Okay, so let's summarize. Why do locusts migrate? They need food. Are they mean? Are they horrible?
Yes.
What are they? What's the word?
Devastating. Locusts.
I need food. I'm hungry. They are so hungry that they transform from grasshoppers into locusts. Their entire body changes. Show me with your body what it looks like when you're super, super, super hungry. Show me. Show me a hungry face. Show me a hungry body without words. Show me a body without words. Okay. So the locusts migrate when they have to for their survival. If they don't migrate, they'll die. So now we're going to learn about whales. Well, this doesn't focus too well, does it?
It's the button
This
on the
button?
end. No. Break.
Okay. Oh, technology challenged here. Oh well. I'll just use my voice to make it interesting and you won't be able to see the words, but is that okay with you?
Yeah.
Okay. All right, so you're going to have to be visualizing and listening a lot harder now. So feel free to close your eyes, because I think closing your eyes makes visualization happen faster. The whales. Many mammals migrate, but no mammal migrates as far as the big gray whale. It travels 6,000 miles and then back again, and most of its traveling is done on an empty stomach. Gray whales love the cold waters near the North Pole because the waters are full of food they love to eat. The whales live on tiny ocean shrimp and worms. Yum. Worms and shrimp. And the Arctic waters are full of these in the summer. The whales eat and eat and eat, straining the tiny food through strips of baleen in their mouth. They have like screens in their mouth instead of teeth that are made of stuff like fingernails. So take a look at your fingernail. I want you to visualize, close your eyes and visualize a whale's mouth, and instead of teeth, it's filled with tiny fingernails that are kind of like a screen on the screen door. Yeah, weird. Weird and wonderful. Nature is often weird and wonderful. The gray whales swim and eat mostly alone through the summer, but in the fall they will begin to look for some traveling companions because the whales know one thing for certain. They must migrate. In the winter, the Arctic seas are filled with solid ice, and the whales will die if they stay. So locusts were going to die because they didn't have food. The whales were going to die because, yes?
The Arctic was becoming like cold and it has ice.
Okay, because they would freeze to death. So locusts could starve to death. Whales could freeze to death. The first gray whales to leave the Arctic are the pregnant females, the mommy whales. These expectant mothers want to have plenty of time to get to the warm waters of California and Mexico before they give birth. No mother wants to have a baby in ice water. I would totally be swimming with those lady whales because I would want to go south where it's warm.
But you would be in freezing cold water.
I am in freezing cold Minnesota. I want to swim with the lady whales to the warm water. The other whales will follow, and in small groups they will all travel down the Pacific coast. And once they leave the Arctic, the whales won't find much food again, and it might be as long as 8 months before they eat.
Oh wow.
You can't even survive a week.
8 months before they eat. Think about that. But the whales have stored a lot of fat in their body called blubber, and this will keep them alive. So see, can anybody find it? I've got some blubber. See if you can find some blubber. Just pinch around and find something soft. Okay. Now feel your little bit of blubber. You guys don't have much blubber. I cannot live off this much blubber for 8 months. I think maybe I got a week. So think about how much blubber a whale would need to stay alive for 8 months. So I want you to close your eyes and picture a big fat blubbery whale. Just picture that whale. Okay. As they travel, the whales swim near shore, and people along the way are thrilled. They wave to the whales from the rocky cliffs and travel out in the boats to say hello to them. When finally the gray whales reach the warm tropical waters in January, the pregnant females will give birth, and the other whales will mate. Do people like whales? Thumbs up if you think people like whales.
I love whales.
Thumbs down if you think they don't like whales.
What?
Do people like whales? Thumbs up if they do. No words. Thumbs down if they don't. What's your opinion? Okay. Now, do people like locusts? Thumbs up if they do. Thumbs down if they don't. So are whales and locusts the same when it comes to people liking them? No. Okay. So, let's keep learning. When new calves are among them, all of the whales will enjoy life in the peaceful lagoons for a while. Then in March, they will be ready to head back to the Arctic for summer. They haven't forgotten how they love to eat there. This time the males will leave first, and the females and calves will stay behind for another several weeks. The calves will have more time to grow and get stronger for the long journey. Finally, all of the whales will travel up past Oregon, past Washington, through the waters of Alaska and Asia, up near the North Pole. How do whales find these Arctic waters? No one is sure. The whales might follow the shape of the ocean beds. They might sense the Earth's magnetic field like a living compass. They may use echolocation. Let's practice echolocation for a minute. Close your eyes. I want to see if you know how to do people echolocation. Marco!
Hello.
Marco!
Hello.
Okay. That's our way of using an echolocation type of behavior so we can find somebody when we can't see. So whales, they push out sound and they listen to where it bounces off. And then that helps them understand their direction. Kind of cool, huh? But somehow the whales will travel that long 6,000-mile journey north, and they will find the same chilly waters they left behind. When they arrive in the Arctic, they will separate and enjoy a summer of fine ocean eating. But just before the Arctic winter arrives, before the ice, something will tell the whales to find each other again, to find some company for another long, long swim. So when they're in the cold water, what do they eat when they're in cold water? Yes.
Worms and
No cocktail sauce, but they have, what do they got?
Shrimp.
Shrimp. Okay. How do they behave when they're eating? Are they hanging out with their friends or are they by themselves? That's where the blubber's coming. They sit alone and they eat and eat and eat and they don't talk to anybody because they have to get nice and fat so that they can swim and live for 8 months without any food. When they don't have any food, they're super social, right? They're hanging out with their friends, they're having lots of conversations. So their personality changes from the cold water to the warm water from when they eat and when they don't eat. There's a lot of cool stuff that's going on with these whales and these locusts. So now, you've got a job to do. Your first job is to quietly, without saying a word, first I want you to visualize, because you're going to have to come up with an answer to the question, which migration is harder? So close your eyes, and first I want you to pretend you're a locust, and you have to change from a grasshopper into a locust and fly and eat, and fly and eat, and fly and eat, and fly and eat until you finally have babies and die. Okay. Now you are a whale, and you are eating and swimming and eating and swimming, and now it's cold, and you take your blubbery self and you swim down to the south where the waters are warm and you can play with your friends, and then as soon as it's time, you swim back home and start eating again. Okay. So, without speaking, if you think that it's it's harder to migrate as a locust, I want you to go and stand on that side of the room without talking. And if you think it's harder to be a whale, go to that side of the room. So you're